Hey-ya, hey-ya, ho. Ooh-eh-ooh, hey-ya, hey-ya, ho.
We recognize with deep respect and gratitude
our home on the side of sacred Buffalo Guardian Mountain.
in the spirit of respect
and truth, we honor and acknowledge the Banff area known as Minerva,
translated in Stony Nakota as the waterfalls,
and the Treaty 7 territory and oral practices
of the Yarhe Nakota, the Stony Nakota,
comprised of the Bear Spa,
Chiniki, the Good Stony Nations,
as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nations and the Blackfoot Confederacy,
Comprised of the Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai.
We acknowledge that this territory is home to the Shuswap Nations, Kanaha Nations,
and the Métis Nation of Alberta Rocky District 4.
We acknowledge all nations who live, work, and play here. Help us steward this land and honor and celebrate its place.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Spring-Summer 2025 program webinar for the Banff Centre for Arts and Creativity. We're located here in the stunning Banff National Park, and I'm glad to have you joining us today from various places around the world. My name is Chris Lorway, and I'm President and CEO of Banff Centre. Over the next hour, you'll get to hear from each of our program directors to speak about each of their programs, starting with leadership, and then we'll go into each individual arts discipline. Feel free to ask any questions in our chat area, as our admissions team will be standing by to answer them. So let's start with who we are at the Banff Centre. We're a non-degree granting post-secondary institution, which started in 1933 with just one drama course in Banff, Alberta. We're located right downtown on Banff Avenue. Over 100 years, we've both deepened and expanded the scope to include training and development in virtually all art forms, as well as leadership skills, with a strong foundation in Indigenous practices and ways of knowing. Our Indigenous Leadership program recently celebrated its 50th anniversary, and our Literary Arts program is currently in its 50th year, and our Leighton studios are about to celebrate 40 years. We're also a very contemporary space. Our network alumni is deep, varied, and active, from the biggest art scenes around the world to right here at home in Alberta. We're many things to many people, but primarily Banff Centre is a post-secondary institution dedicated to the arts, leadership, and creative thinking. We bring inspiring leaders, audiences, and communities together to create the world we want to live in, from concept to action. In this webinar, we'll take a high-level view of our over 25 programs coming up next spring and summer, and some beyond that. We'll talk about a new shift in our professional training programs. And no matter which department you're looking at, all programs at Banff Centre feature provided meals and accommodation, support from esteemed faculty and staff, and a truly unmatched location. With all that, we'll start off with Mark Wold, our Executive Director of Leadership at Banff Centre. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Chris. I'm excited to share with all of you some updates in our leadership programming. We're focusing our leadership programming on the three pillars you're looking at on the screen. Indigenous leadership, which has been running at the Banff Centre continuously over 50 years, cultural leadership, and convening. What, you may ask, is convening? These are thought leader gatherings, think tanks, summits, and symposia. These events serve as the research and development activity to support Banff Centre's core leadership and arts programming growth and evolution. We recently held 3 such summits: a philanthropy summit, a thought leader gathering around child and family services, which we'll share more about momentarily, and a cultural leadership forum. All of this work is leading to new programming, both in leadership and the arts, and we have more on the way currently in the development stage. But for now, I'd like to provide a little bit of an update on our cultural leadership programming area. Following an 8-month environmental scan and leadership forum last spring, we're now developing specific program themes and an overarching modular framework for our future suite of cultural leadership programs. We're working very closely with our Indigenous leadership team throughout this process. The purpose of this is to respond to existing research and design work from our Indigenous Leadership Wise Practices research model that will help inform the framework and development of a new foundational cultural leadership course. This work is grounded in the right relations engagement principles: love, respect, humility, courage, wisdom, honesty, and truth. And the leadership principles, we can look at those on the next slide. identity and culture, leadership, strategic vision and planning, governance and planning, accountability and stewardship, performance evaluation and collaborations, partnerships, and external relationships. All the ingredients arts and cultural leadership leaders need to help lead grow the sector. This work includes a literature review currently of over 136 titles, 30 case studies, and 34 additional national projects, which will help build a toolkit and a reference guide for our cultural leaders as they bring their own case studies into a given program. At the same time, we're identifying future themes and modules specific to cultural leadership programs beyond the foundational program using the modular framework. This will become a series of 1 week-long courses focusing on issues specific to the arts and cultural leadership sector. And these modules will reside within the current framework you're looking at. This design work is taking place over the fall, including international perspectives, and we're set to run a pilot program this January 2025. Following that pilot, we're on track to launch new public program offerings next year. Stay tuned. And now to speak in more detail about our Indigenous leadership programming, I'd like to introduce my colleague, our Director of Indigenous Leadership, Simon Ross.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, Diction 101, everyone. Good day, good morning. I hope everyone's well. It's an honor to be able to share with you our upcoming programming activities over the next fiscal year. We're very excited to be building on the 11 programs that we offer within our Indigenous Certificate of Excellence in Leadership Management. And in the spring, or I should say, in the spring, we will be starting off the year with Calling Our Spirits Home, Indigenous Women in Leadership. This program really focuses on how are we strengthening Indigenous women leadership opportunities, their ways of knowing and being through ceremony, through practice, which is really looking at how do we make changes, again, within the Indigenous leadership world. We'll follow that up in May with our Inherent Right to Indigenous Governance, which is a large focus on governance material from the historical aspects of the engagement of the Indian Act to current day treaties and non-treaty relationships that we have with the government. And then we'll be moving into more of our foundational programming in May, which is our Intermediate Wise Practice in Indigenous Leadership. Mark gave a bit of an overview of what WISE practice is when talking about how we're adopting that within our cultural leadership programs. And the model that he had shared, talking about the 7 spokes, if we look at it, culture and identity, leadership, etc. This program is grounded in all those pieces. And we have been running that program for many years, and we have great insight and sort of application to what we understand around WISE practices and how do we adopt it in current today's society. If we go to our next slide, we will be looking at the beginning of June in our Indigenous evaluation frameworks. And this program is really insightful of understanding that whenever we're working in sort of whether it's a nonprofit sector or whether it's in program delivery, whether it's in healthcare, whether it's in education, we're always questioning on how do we evaluate these programs. And this program really focuses on how do we develop an Indigenous lens that is outside of a Western Eurocentric process that a lot of our organizations are requesting. So we're being adaptive in looking at how do we best report on the strengths of Indigenous people. We follow that up in September with Truth and Reconciliation Through Right Relations, which is really engaging with organized individuals to understand how do we move organizations forward in a reconciliation lens, and what sort of practices can we implement to achieve those goals and intentionalities. Then we follow up in September with our negotiation skills training, which is sort of one of our key foundational programs that focuses on how do we engage and relate with provincial, federal, municipal governments or industry proponents looking to engage in relationships with Indigenous communities or Indigenous organizations across the country from coast to coast to coast. Very insightful. But what I'm really excited to share about is, as Mark alluded to earlier this year, we held a thought leaders gathering that really focused on child and family services. We brought 20 experts from across the country to inform us on how do we look at and how do we review the child and family services currently provided across the country. with the big federal sort of announcements over the last year about the billions of dollars that will be supporting Indigenous communities and organizations with child and family services, we are in the process of delivering a program that is going to look at the 4 different streams in which child and family services currently operates within the country. And this program, as we design it out over the next few weeks, is going to be really looking at what are the strengths, what are the challenges, what are the pitfalls, and how do we actually strengthen and support communities in moving forward with their child and family services delivery. In other words, how are we looking after our future children? How are we looking after our families? And doing this in a good way, which is with good fiscal responsibility. So those are our current programs. I believe we're also rolling out the rest of our program delivery for the rest of the fiscal year from an Indigenous leadership perspective. So please check out our website, and the programs will be opening soon for registration. And thank you very much for your time. We're excited to continue the delivery of Indigenous leadership to everyone. And I would like to pass it on to the Executive Director of Arts, Josephine. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you, Simon. Hello, everyone. My name is Josephine Ridge, and I'm the Executive Director of the Arts here at the Banff Centre. Having only been in this position for 5 months, I find I am still pinching myself that I've had the opportunity to join this unique and important institution. Decades ago, as a young arts worker, and then over many years, as I continued my journey through various administrative and curatorial roles with performing companies and festivals in Australia, the Banff Centre loomed large. It was and still is the place where artists and those dedicated to the arts can come to have life-changing experiences that offer the opportunity to learn, explore, and discover, and to do so in one of the world's most naturally inspiring environments with other artists from all over the world. There truly is no other place like the Banff Centre, and today you're going to hear from the various art form directors about the new programs that are now open for application. The portfolios range across music, theatre, dance, opera, literary, visual, and Indigenous arts. You will hear about opportunities to engage with mountain culture and residencies that offer participants the all too rare chance to reflect, research, and dream. You will also learn about professional training programs, providing skills-based practical learning opportunities for those of you who are committed to careers in the production and technical areas so vital to arts creation and presentation. The Banff Centre has been doing this work now for over 90 years, and we are proud of the legacy of excellence that this represents, inspired by the countless extraordinary artists who have spent time here participating in our programs, and excited by a renewed energy and commitment that now drives us towards our centenary. Thank you for joining us today. And now, before you meet the other directors, I'd like to tell you about the forthcoming visual arts programs. Kapishkam Métis Gathering is a 5-week program designed for Métis visual artists, creative makers, and curators at any stage of their careers who are interested in engaging traditions and building futures. You can apply whether you are working on a specific project, creating new works, or exploring and researching innovative ideas. This program aims to foster the exchange of knowledge and ideas among artists while encouraging you to produce work that embodies the diverse and complex nature of Métis culture, as well as to address contemporary Métis-specific issues. The 5 faculty who will be leading Kapishkam Métis Gathering are Jason Berg, interdisciplinary artist and assistant professor in Indigenous practices in contemporary painting and media art at OCAD University. Filmmaker, artivist and educator Marjorie Bocage, recently awarded the Canada Council for the Arts 2024 Governor General Award for Media Arts for her work in creative documentary. Daphne Boyer, whose work combines plant material, porcupine quills, women's traditional handwork, and high-resolution digital tools to create art that celebrates her Indigenous heritage and often honours plants and animals as kin. Liz Barron, a founding member of the Harbour Collective, which engages in research, artistic programming and service delivery for Indigenous filmmakers, media and visual artists. And finally, David Garneau, Professor of Visual Arts at the University of Regina and a painter, curator and critical art writer who engages creative expressions of Indigenous contemporary ways of being. And a reminder that under Banff Centre policy, Canadian Indigenous, Métis and Inuit participants are eligible for full scholarships. Early Career Banff Artist in Residence, Summer 2025 is the next program I'm going to talk about. It is a self-directed residency catering to visual artists at the early stage of their artistic careers. If you're a ceramicist, a curator, painter, paper artist, photographer, printmaker, and/or sculptor, this program will provide you with a tailored opportunity for professional development and creative growth. As with all our visual arts programs, participants are provided with a studio as well as targeted access to our extensive facilities and staff who are available to provide technical assistance and support. The two faculty leading the early career residency are Jerry Robson, an artist, writer, and arts organizer who combines image, object, text, and narrative to focus his artistic practice around site-specific installation and performative storytelling. He has a particular interest in the politics of rural demise, ritualistic practices, and the language of fanaticism. And Tak Pham, a Vietnamese contemporary art curator and writer who is currently curator at the Illingworth Kerr Gallery at AUA in Calgary. He's also curated exhibitions and curatorial projects for galleries right across the country. Thank you, and it is now my pleasure to introduce you to Derek Beaulieu, our Director of Literary Arts, who is going to share his forthcoming programs with you.
Thank you so much, Josephine. Today is the 6-year anniversary of my taking the position of Director of Literary Arts, and I'm proud to announce the expansion of literary arts offerings across campus for 25-26. We're looking to invest in a series of programs that really respond to what writers and readers are looking for across Canada, what they're looking for in terms of literary production. And to do so, we are, for the first time, really proud to announce that we are going to be investing in genre writing. So our first residency for 25-26 in April is our first horror writing residency with faculty Shane Hawk, Jessica Johns, and Cherie Dimeline, and our professional guest from Arsenal Pulp Press. That will be a 2-week residency, and all participants will be have their tuition covered at 100% and room and board at 50%, and all Indigenous participants will have 100% of tuition and 100% of room and board. We're also going to be expanding into science fiction writing. In science fiction, our residency is in September with award-winning faculty Ai Zhang, Premi Mohammed, and Amal El-Matar, and our publishing guest will be from Tor Books, one of the world's premier publishers of contemporary science fiction. Now, that's not to say that we're only looking at genre writing for this coming year. We also have 2 other residencies happening just in our first half of the year. We have literary journalism, which is running in May, with Keo McClear, Sarah Berman, and Taras Grasco, with our publishing guest from Between the Lines, and our summer writers residency, featuring Holly Melgard, Eric Sneathan, Douglas Kearney, and a publishing guest from Book Hug, Canada's Book Hug Press. As we expand throughout the year, we are going to be alternating back and forth between our genre investments and our offerings around open topic and other areas. So we should be expect to hear more about our young adult and children's writing residency, our comics and graphic novel residency, our winter and spring open topic residencies, as well as a 2-week residency focusing entirely on contemporary French writing. All of this is really exciting to me. As I said, the residencies will all be 2 weeks long and housed in Banff Centre's historic Vincy Hall, one of the original buildings from our campus, one of the few remaining from our move up to Sleeping Buffalo Mountain in 1947. And all the residencies will be expanding to 21 participants per residency while maintaining our boutique 7-to-1 ratio between faculty and participants. So everyone will have a lot of one-on-one hands-on experience. Our professional guests will also be offering a perspective in terms of what the Canadian publishing world is like, what presses are looking for, and commenting on trends and ways that authors can make sure that their work connects with a contemporary audience. So a lot of exciting programs to look forward to in literary arts. If you have any questions, by all means, put them in the chat. And I would like to pass the baton on to my colleague, Director of Music, Megumi Masaki. Megumi?
Thank you very much, Derek. Very exciting. The music programs, I'd just like to speak about the core of our fleet. What's behind all of the music programs is to cultivate strong community, collaboration, innovative, inclusive environments, and vibrant synergy to spark creativity for transformative artistic experiences and musical growth. I'm very excited to present the first of our music programs, Sound Weaving's Intercultural Music Residency, that will happen at the end of April and May for 2 weeks. This residency provides space and focused time to celebrate all musics and transcend borders. This program explores cross connections between music makers of traditional world music instruments as well as Western instruments and voice. The program, this is the first time that we are celebrating music from diverse cultural and artistic practices from around the world together, and will be shaped by the historical and contemporary traditions of the faculty and participants. Along with the freedom to focus on artistic process and to structure your time around the needs of your project, you will receive artistic inspiration from renowned global artists and mentors. The diverse range of artistic influences across the 2 weeks, along with the opportunity for interaction and collaboration amongst peers, will lead to new discoveries and understanding. 4 concerts will share faculty and participant collaborations, discoveries, and performances throughout the residency. I'm very excited to speak a little bit about the faculty that will be making the mentor team. Jeremy Dutcher is a double Polaris winning Two-Spirit Wolas Tuwig Maliset member of the Tubik First Nation in New Brunswick. His local Indigenous language, Wool Astagwe Maliset, being among our nation's many endangered languages. Jeremy is a pianist and composer and passionate about using music to preserve language and culture. Sandeep Bagwati is a multi-award winning composer, theater director, and media artist. His compositions and comprovisations in all genres have been performed by leading performers at leading venues and festivals worldwide. He has directed international, intercultural festivals and exchange projects with Indian and Chinese musicians and leading new music ensembles. Nigan Tan Toy is a leading dantan player, improviser in both traditional and experimental music. She was born into a theater family and was raised with traditional Vietnamese music from an early age in Hanoi. Her research focuses on the choreography of gender in traditional Vietnamese music. And rounding up our mentor team for Sound Weavings is Hand to Earth Trio, which was developed by the Australian Art Orchestra under the leadership of Peter Knight, trumpeter, composer, and producer in the remote highlands of Tasmania. Yulno songman Daniel Yepinigi, Wilfred, and Korean vocalist Sunny Kim will join us on faculty for Sound Weavings. The next program is Jazz and Sonic Arts next summer. It is an innovative developmental program for early and mid-career jazz and sound artists to explore new directions in their artistic practice, become change makers, and advance their creative potential as performers, collaborators, and creators. Jazz and Sonic Arts engage with sound in innovative ways using improvisation, experimentation, and technology to expand sonic possibilities of music. Both are ever evolving and diverse genres which create a powerful synergy to inspire creativity for a multi-dimensional experiences. Jazz and Sonic Arts will also explore how you can be a catalyst for cultural dialogue, empowerment, positive societal change, and ecological awareness. 4 concerts in the Jenny Belzberg Theatre will celebrate faculty and participant collaborations. Lead faculty for Jazz and Sonic Arts is Shabaka Hutchins, flautist, clarinetist, composer, an absolute leading voice in experimental and jazz music in the UK. Anna Weber, saxophone composer, Canadian. Kalia Vandever, trombonist, and Austin Williamson, drums. Stay tuned for other exciting members of the faculty team for Jazz and Sonic Arts. And for the next music program, Interplay, Chamber Music and Opera, it is my honor to introduce my collaborative partner, Director of Theatre Arts, Emil Gladstone, as we together introduce our next joint music program, Interplay, Chamber Music and Opera.
Thanks, Megumi. This collaborative residency is for early and mid-career classically trained singers, pianists, string, woodwind, and brass musicians, composers, conductors, stage directors, and stage managers. I'm very excited that this year we are not only doing workshops of several new operas, but a fully produced version of The Handmaid's Tale, based on the novel by Margaret Atwood, composed by Paul Reuters in a new arrangement by Dan Schlossberg.
Chamber musicians will delve into the rich history and contemporary evolution of chamber music, exploring a range of styles from classical composition to new works. Collaboration with fellow participants is at the core of this program. Chamber musicians will also have the opportunity to perform in the chamber orchestra of the opera Handmaid's Tale.
Interplay offers a unique opportunity for opera artists of all types and chamber musicians to perform in an opera production and chamber music with practical hands-on experience, receive coaching and mentorship from renowned chamber, orchestral, and opera musicians, and learn industry best practices by collaborating with a very large-scale team.
In addition, the focus will be on artistic development, communication, collaboration, interpretation, and innovative performance practices. Participants will be able to gain insights into the composer-performer creative process of chamber operas and new chamber works in development. The participants will present new works in concert workshop settings ranging from beautiful performance venues to even a local pub. Please stay tuned by checking our Banff Centre websites for more exciting updates from the music programs next year. Emil?
Thanks so much, Megumi. Now we look at the other offerings in theater arts. And in my area, I'm aiming so that you can come and receive training at any point in the life of a project, whether that's in a first draft or all the way up to full production. My goal is that wherever you are in the process, there might be a home for your project here. So my other offering in the spring, summer timeframe is the Playwrights Lab. And now in its 52nd year, the lab is the place for Canadian playwrights to gather and work on new plays with amazing faculty. Nina Liakino, Keith Barker, Inua Ellams, Colleen Murphy, Yvette Nolan, and Emma Tabaldo are all either amazing playwrights or very experienced dramaturgs who all have really extensive experience in new play development. There are 3 streams you can apply, either as an emerging playwright, an established playwright, or an apprentice dramaturg. And we welcome applications from all genres in playwriting to submit to this. And we're especially looking for new plays that are telling stories about our lives and how we live now. And now I want to hand this over to my colleague, Carrie Stauffer, the Managing Director of Digital, Film, and Media. Carrie.
Thank you, Emil. I'm happy to be here with everybody today and share an update. Earlier in the year, we announced that we're redesigning the practicum program and we'll be ready to launch the newly developed program starting in April 2025. Newly named the Professional Training Program, this new program has been developed as a tuition-based program, and participants will apply, be adjudicated, and accepted as full participants into the specific arts program, integrating a professional training component. Each professional training program will have lead faculty engaged to support their learning objectives, along with support and training from program faculty and staff. Our lead faculty in the first half of the year all have deep experience with Banff Centre and professional skills training. Participants will also participate in complementary components within the overall program, with technical training and applied learning continuing at the forefront. Coming up in the first half of the year, the professional training programs happening are wardrobe technician and props technician within Interplay Opera. Emil just spoke about that program. In music, Megumi just spoke about sound weavings and jazz, and they will have a recording engineer training component. The newly developed professional training programs will continue to provide valuable experience to practitioners, building skills and adding to their professional portfolio and network. Learning opportunities will vary based on the discipline of the program, but always include skills development and applied experience within a residency performance-based arts program. We're excited for you to be part of this. Second half of the year, I'm working with Janine Windhoff on the digital constellations for media professional training. But reach out for more information. We're ready for you to ask questions about this really new, redeveloped program. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And now I'd like to introduce Joanna Croston, Director of Mountain Culture.
Thanks, Carrie. My name is Joanna. I'm the Director of Mountain Culture here at Banff Centre. This is my 18th year here on the Mountain Festival team, and I'm delighted today to present to you our mountain culture programs. As many of you may know, today, well, actually, for the last several months, we've been getting ready to deliver our 49th annual Banff Centre Mountain Film and Book Festival, one of Banff Centre's flagship events here on campus. But today I'm going to tell you about 2 programs we offer for the fall of 2025, our Adventure Filmmakers Workshop and our Mountain Writers Intensive. Our Adventure Filmmakers Workshop is a 10-day intensive classroom program with hands-on technical elements under the guidance of 2 world-renowned cinematographers, Keith Partridge and Michael Brown. Keith Partridge is an award-winning filmmaker from the UK. His work has included projects like BBC Earth and other adventure film series. Michael Brown is an Emmy Award-winning filmmaker from the US with dozens of adventure films under his belt. Most notably, he has filmed from the top of Mount Everest 5 times. The workshop focuses on storytelling and creating compelling, impactful documentaries for early to mid-career filmmakers. This all takes place during the Banff Centre Mountain Film and Book Festival, where filmmakers can watch films, meet mentors, and network with industry experts, many of whom act as guest speakers during the workshop. The program is 10 days long for 18 participants, and there is generous scholarshiping available. Our Mountain Writers Intensive is a reintroduction of our formerly known program called the Mountain Writing and Wilderness Program. And it's one of our most popular mountain culture programs at Banff Centre. It's designed for any writer whose central theme focuses on mountains, the environment, or adventure travel writing. All genres are welcome: memoir, poetry, nonfiction, investigative journalism, and environmental writing. The program runs for 3 weeks with 9 writers and 2 faculty. There's lots of time for quiet writing, plus group workshops and weekly peer review. Faculty include Harley Rustad, an award-winning writer and senior editor of The Walrus here in Canada. He is also a fellow of the Royal Geographical Society. Helen Mort is an award-winning poet and author from the UK. She's a professor of creative writing at Manchester Metropolitan University and a fellow of the Royal Society of Literature. The guest speakers, similar to the Adventure Filmmakers workshop, are drawn from the Mountain Festival stellar lineup of authors and publishers and editors who are in attendance. Generous scholarshiping is also available for the Mountain Writers Intensive. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you next fall. In the meantime, here is Hema to talk about our Leighton studios.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hema Sivanasan, and I'm the director of the Leighton Artist Studios. It's a pleasure to give you more information about residencies at the Leighton Studios, which are now open for applications. The Leighton Artist Studios are comprised of 9 self-contained architect design studios located in a forested area of the Banff Centre campus. This independent residency program is in its 40th year, providing retreat-style residencies for artists working on research creation projects. It is a multidisciplinary program, so we have studios suitable for musicians and composers, for literary artists of all types, for screenwriters and playwrights, and for visual artists and curators. I also really want to encourage artists with interdisciplinary practices, say a musician wanting to develop graphic scores, or a visual artist that also has a writing practice, for example, to consider applying to this program. Aside from the 9 discipline-focused studios, we have a 10th studio, the Painter House, that is available during designated periods for use by collectives, ensembles, and interdisciplinary collaborators. Painter House is ideal for small groups of up to 8 or 10 people, depending on the project. What sets the Leighton Studios apart from other Banff Centre residencies is the unique retreat environment, providing the time and space to focus intensely on a project or to work through creative blocks. In other words, it is a program that supports introspection and affords artists a safe space to experiment and explore. Accordingly, I want to encourage Indigenous and racialized artists or artists of colour to apply, because this is a safe space where identity-related ideas and cultural practices can be explored through your art form. To paint a more evocative picture of the experience of the Leighton Studios, here's an excerpt of a testimonial provided by artist Rebecca Haas, who was in residence recently. She says, "My 2 weeks as a resident artist in Leighton Studios were transformative. The studio provided the isolation, privacy, and peace that became the bedrock of my exploration. I can't imagine that I could have had this growth anywhere else. The blend of my readiness, the territory itself, and the staff who maintain this beautiful container made for an unparalleled time of growth and insight." If this sounds like the program for you, please apply. We only have 1 intake for 2025, and the deadline for applications is November 20. I'm now going to pass the baton on to Janine Windolf, the Director of Indigenous Arts.
Tanse. I'm not sure if anyone can see me. I still see Hema on the screen. But my name is Janine Windolf, and I'm the Director of Indigenous Arts here at the Banff Centre. Oh, good, you can see me. So I've been here for 5 years. I'm originally from La Ronge, Saskatchewan Treaty 6 area, and my family is from Waswanipi Cree Nation, which makes me part of the James Bay Agreement. I'm really honored to be here in Treaty 7 with my two kids, Delari and Corwin, and to be working at the Banff Centre, where I'm able to help support the Indigenous arts and Indigenous artists through the program. The programs that we offer alternate, so I have about 10 core programs. And what's unique is that we offer 5 programs each year, which move into multiple disciplines. So I work with each team here at the Banff Centre, the visual arts group, the theater group, the media production group, and we also find our way into the music area and the literary area as well. And so as part of our upcoming programs, I'm going to focus more so on Indigenous haute couture and Acnumustithis digital constellations, which will be coming up in the first half of our next year. And so we'll move to the next slide, where we'll talk more about Indigenous haute couture. This program is now in its 3rd iteration. We started this program in 2019, which ended up coming out more in 2020. I've been working with Darcy Moses, and each program has evolved from traditional components such as porcupine quills, caribou tufting, beading, and having that as embellishment forms on fashion programs. So haute couture is one of a kind and made to customize our clothes to each individual. And so for this program, we are focusing on the creation component, but we're utilizing our visual arts facilities to combine both traditional and contemporary techniques. So for example, one of the techniques that were seen was laser etching on moose hide, laser cutting on moose hide. We had traditional beadwork that was turned into digital printing fabric and put into their clothes. So it was all about experimentation. And at the end, we like to be able to share our work. So there'll be an open studios component where the public are able to come and see their works in progress. For this program and the next program, we are actually including an online week at the beginning because every program evolves from each of the faculty and participants' feedback. What we learned was being able to set our participants up for success is that we'd like to host the first week online with some introductions, presentations, but also working with the faculty to know what they need to do to be ready to come on campus. And because we do live in a national park here for those who live in Banff, and we're hosting you in there, there's a lot of stores and things that would be better probably sourced outside before coming to campus for your personal project that you would be bringing. And so for this project, we're in our 3rd iteration, and in the next webinar, I'll be talking a bit more about the Indigenous Fashion Runway, which will be focused on distribution, runway, and photography. So for this one, I just want to center it on creation and embellishments and experimentation. I'll move to the next program called Acnumustithis, Ecological Engagement Through the Seasons, which is also another program in its 3rd iteration. We experimented with an online version, but we found that the best way to offer this program is in studio. But again, we're also going to be combining this one with the online week to help get our participants ready to be on campus and to be grounded so that when you come on, you can be welcomed and introduced, but also move through the program and get set up with your own studio. So both programs offer studio access, access to facilities, faculty mentorship, group workshops, time for self-directed. And we recommend people bring forward their own project that they can experiment on and share in open studios. What I'd like to emphasize is for Indigenous arts, that collective sharing amongst participants, faculty, has a place in a community room in each of our VA programs. So we know that knowledge exchange is definitely one of the important components to an IA program. And so just wanted to quickly say, the last thing you can think about is looking at each of our programs online, reaching out, asking questions. This is just a starting point, and Just want to thank the other directors for their generous sharing and also taking time to host Indigenous participants in their programs. And as faculty, I'm going to hand it over to President Chris Lorre to close our webinar for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Janine. And as you can see, with all the different presentations today, there's a lot of stuff going on over the Banff Centre over the next year. And really proud of the team here for all the programs they put together that both build on the history and legacy of the institution, but also take us into new and contemporary ways of thinking about artistic and leadership practices. So a big kudos to the team, and I hope that you all who have attended today are as excited as we are. For those of you who weren't able to attend today, we have recorded the session, so there will be a link posted and available for those who want to either share it with friends who they knew couldn't make it today, or to do a bit of a refresh. And as always, you'll see in the chat that we've had information posted throughout the discussion today with links to the various programs. But also feel free to reach out to our registrar's office if you have any additional questions or want to follow up on anything. So thank you again for your time today, and we look forward to hopefully hosting you at Banff sometime. And again, it's an exciting time, and we hope to see you all soon. Thank you.